Just in this misery already. Someone have mercy on this polished turd. Someone please end the misery for the dump of dumps, which is only out-dumped by the premier dump, the WNBA dump. There is a reason I refer to CNN as the Cemetery News Network. This network resembles an actual cemetery. There are no signs of life. The only light at the end of this very dark tunnel, it is the light coming from the freight train that is looking to pound this bruised caboose for the final time. You know, CNN reminds me a lot of the New Orleans Pelicans, two organizations with a complete lack of leadership, two organizations struggling to maintain their dwindling audience, two organizations without a single star on their roster. Well, Casey, what about Zion Williamson? Zion's a huge star! Huge is an adjective that is often used to describe Zion Williamson, but not when describing his star power or the complete lack thereof. Stars have the ability to draw an audience. Look at the home crowds in New Orleans. There are more employees in the Smoothie King Center than paying customers. Right now, both the Pelicans and CNN, they are delaying their own demise. These are two organizations where everyone else knows it's over, but the people running it, they can't seem to accept that reality. Both have been through coaching changes, hoping a new voice, a new vision can breathe life into the building. CNN went from Jeffrey Zucker to Chris Licht, from Chris Licht to Mark Thompson. The Pelicans, they went from Alvin Gentry to Stan Van Gundy, from Stanley to some weasel named Willie. They have both completely overhauled their rosters, hoping new faces on the screen would be enough to capture the fan base. The Pelicans went from Anthony Davis, Tony! They went from Tony and Boogie Cousins to Zion and Brandon Ingram. CNN went from Donnie Lemon and Chris Cuomo. Hey, it's me, Chrissy C! They went from Donnie and Chrissy to Abby Phillip and Caitlin Collins. Katie Woo! Katie Woo! Now, to their credit, their embarrassing failure, it is not from lack of effort. Both the Pelicans and CNN, they have tried and tried and tried to make things work. They have tried to draw interest to their unappealing turds, but when you look at both of these organizations, you quickly discover that failure is inevitable because they both have the same problem, a problem that can't be fixed unless you clean the building from top to bottom. Both organizations, they both suffer from poor leadership, which leads to a complete lack of accountability. So it should come as no surprise that both the Pelicans and CNN, they are the worst organizations in their respective industries, with CNN riding the Bruce Caboose Tuesday night all the way to a last place finish in the ratings. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Go ahead and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Trump Trends. Trump Trends just released an exclusive collector's edition of gold boots and sneakers. These gold-plated shoes, they are made with premium Italian-grade leather, and they are handcrafted right here in America. There's only 1,000 pair of these limited edition boots and shoes available. These would be the perfect gift for the collector in your family. Christmas is right around the corner. You can give them a rare piece of history by making them one of the few people that own a pair of limited edition Trump footwear. Since these are handcrafted with strong American hands, takes time for them to be prepped and delivered. If you want these to arrive by Christmas, they have got to be ordered immediately. I believe the deadline was Tuesday, Election Day, so if you want these to arrive sometime around Christmas, order them today. Trump Trends is your one-stop shop for everything Donald Trump. So join over 30,000 satisfied customers by clicking the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL10. Save 10% off your first purchase with Trump Trends. Unsurprisingly, Fox News was the #1 network on television Tuesday night. Fox averaged 10.3 million viewers for their election coverage, down nearly 4 million viewers from 2020. Now, all networks were down compared to 4 years ago, and I'll explain why here in just a second. Now, everyone knew that Fox would be number one in the ratings. What we didn't know, what came as a complete surprise, was who came in at number two. Historically, no matter how bad they are performing in the ratings day to day, CNN was the go-to network for major news. Key word, was. For decades, CNN's been able to rely on old viewing habits. Since they were the first 24-hour cable news network, people would habitually watch CNN anytime there was major breaking news. Now, even though it took 30 years for those bad habits to be broken, they were finally broken Tuesday night. For the first time ever, MSNBC beat CNN in the ratings on election night. MSNBC came in at number 2 with 6 million viewers. Once again, CNN was riding the Bruce caboose, averaging just over 5 million. A decline of 4.5 million people in 4 years. The question is, why? Now, on the surface, MSNBC is just as deplorable as CNN. Matter of fact, you can make a strong case that MSNBC easily outshitfucks CNN. So how come parishioners at Woke United Methodist are choosing the wicked weave over the rue of poo? Like I've told you guys before, CNN is not deplorable enough for the deplorables, and CNN isn't anywhere close to being appealing to normal people. Let me show you a few examples of what CNN presented to their audience as election coverage. You tell me if you would waste your valuable time watching this garbage. The first clip is some dude named David with a rod in his axle. He is whining and complaining, claiming that mythical racism is to blame for Cam Harris being a huge embarrassing failure. The second clip, it features one of the many unknowns at CNN having an emotional breakdown because one of the panelists had the audacity to refer to a boy as a boy. Watch it for yourself.
There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country, and anybody who thinks that that did not in any way impact on the outcome of this race is wrong.
There are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
Are you going to allow me to finish my explanation?
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt. That's not how it is. They're not boys. They're not boys. They're not playing girls' softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
Let's reset for a second because, look, this is a really heated issue, right? And Sharmichael, I know you. I know that you understand that people have different views on this. I think out of respect for Jay, let's try to talk about this in a way that is respectful.
They are not boys. Just because they have a 5 o'clock shadow doesn't mean they're boys. Just because his name is Franklin Beans doesn't make him a boy. Stop spreading your phobia. It's causing my battery to overheat. This is what I'm talking about with CNN and a complete lack of accountability. Abby Phillip missed a golden opportunity here. This was your chance to shut down the lunacy. You've got a grown man. Dude looked like he was a grandfather. You've got a grown man on your set having an emotional breakdown over pronouns. A grown man having an emotional meltdown over 2- and 3-letter words. Words! You only have one person on the panel willing to speak common sense. And instead of chastising the grown man in tears, Abby Phillip chastises the dude who was speaking the truth? This is another example of CNN employing people who are allergic to the truth. This is why your network is struggling. This is why your network finished last place on election night. Quit putting people on television who view the world through their feelings. I hate to be the one to tell that aging fossil who was in his feelings over gender adjectives, but the world does not care about your feelings. Matter of fact, your ideology, it is one of the many reasons that Cam Harris lost this election. I know in your media bubble, all the cool boys are wanting to be girls, but the rest of the country, we are defending our women. What was even less surprising on election night was the ratings for the broadcast networks. Now, typically, broadcast networks, they draw a larger audience because it's free TV. All you got to do is remove David's rod from his axle, clean it off, wrap some aluminum foil around it, and you got the broadcast networks for free. Now, even though they were available at no charge, ratings on the major networks, they were absolutely atrocious. ABC, 5.7 million. NBC, 5.5 million. CBS, an abysmal 3.6 million. Overall, ratings were down 25% across linear and broadcast television. Why? Because the vast majority of the country, especially people under the age of 50, we were watching the election online, which is why the mainstream media is shook. It's why the mainstream media is in a full-blown panic. You don't have to take my word for it. Uncle KC always comes with the proof. I put together a little montage of the woke media doing what they do best, whining and complaining. If Cam Harris had won this election, I think the streaming landscape would be in serious danger. I think one of her top priorities would have been controlling what they refer to as misinformation. Translation, free speech. Now, unfortunately for the media, Cam Harris joined them in Club Loser. But that does not mean the incessant whining is going to stop. Watch for yourself and pay very close attention to Mika Bazooka from MSNBC.
Maybe we need to have a different set of regulations for social media platforms now that they're this big.
And then moves them through YouTube videos, through podcasts, moves them from that annoyance all the way slowly to a full-blown fascist politic. We don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction.
The dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
You just heard it yourself. Controlling what people think, that's our job. And that is exactly why the mainstream media is in a panic. That one key word, control. This is why I said the media was the biggest loser Tuesday night, because they finally realized what we have known for months. They have lost control over normal people. Now, I'm sure some people are thinking, why doesn't the media just move online? Well, they are trying to compete online. Whether the media is on television or on YouTube or Twitter, doesn't really matter. They are not losing because of the platform. They are losing because of the propaganda. I know it has been a miserable 4 years for a lot of people, but the last 4 years, they were a blessing in disguise. The only way to grow is through pain. Normal people have grown exponentially in the past 4 years because normal people have finally woke up. They have woke up to the fact that the media is full of shit. And instead of the media atoning for their sins, instead of the media admitting they have been lying in what would be a desperate attempt to regain their lost credibility, the media, they have decided to double their consumption of the woke wiener. At least the first option gives you a chance. I doubt they would be forgiven, but at least it gives you a chance. Because the path that the mainstream media is on right now, it only leads to destruction. But give me your thoughts on this. CNN finishes dead last in the ratings again. For the first time ever, MSNBC beats CNN on election night. Is there any hope for the Cemetery News Network? Hell, is there any hope for the media? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Best way to contact me is through email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys later.